Well, Alzheimer's came to the foreground this past weekend when hundreds of people took part in Chattanooga's annual walk to find a cure for Alzheimer's disease. That and dementia are two of the cruelest diseases known and the ones that frighten so many people these days. Nobody wants to imagine what it will be like to slowly slip into a fog and then not remember who you are, who your loved ones are. This morning, we always enjoy a visit with psychiatrist Tim Jennings. He is here with us, and you're going to talk about keeping your brain young. Yeah, I like that. Everybody wants to do that. You know, we all talk about cosmetic things we can do to look younger, but what could be more important than what's going on in our brains?
Well, we're going to do 4 simple interventions you can do that will actually keep your brain from aging or slow the aging process.
Okay.
The underlying pathology that contributes to the acceleration of aging is inflammation, which comes from a lot of high stress. And so all the interventions are going to be things that reduce inflammation.
Inflammation seems to be the buzzword these days, and important. I'm not trying to make light of it. It's an important word, but we're hearing more and more about it in all kinds of disease.
That's right, including mental illnesses as well.
Okay.
And so we use a little acronym SANE, keep your brain sane.
Mm-hmm.
The S will stand for sleep. Sleep deprivation acutely, meaning in the short term, will cause impairments of memory, impairments of concentration, impairments of focus, and irritability. In the long term, it actually increases inflammations associated with diabetes and obesity and increasing risk for dementia. So chronic sleep deprivation is very bad for your long-term health.
As simple as it seems, that's so important.
Adults need 7.5 to 8 hours a night. Adolescents need about 9 to 10, and elementary school kids need 11 to 12.
Okay.
Okay. The A stands for altruism, which means volunteering, giving of yourself to help other people. Studies show that people who volunteer throughout their life actually have less physical and mental disabilities as they age, and they also keep their autonomy. In other words, as they age, they don't need as much support systems. They are able to stay independent, continue to drive, and so forth if they are involved in volunteer work.
Wow.
And the reason for this is as you help others, you actually activate the part of your brain we call the anterior cingulate cortex. It's a compassionate part of your brain that directly calms the fear circuitry, reducing inflammation in the body. So
when you reach out to help someone else, unknowingly, you are actually helping yourself.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Right.
The N, S-A-N, N stands for nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Studies show that people who are obese at the age of 70 have 8% less brain mass than people of normal weight at age 70, which makes their brains approximately 16 years older than they would be if they were of normal weight. Obesity itself, the fat tissue, is highly inflammatory, creating molecules in the body that cause inflammation. Additionally, the fat foods, fast foods, and junk foods are highly inflammatory, contributing to this process. So we want to live a life with good nutrition, which has fruits, nuts, grains, vegetables, and not a lot of fast foods. Okay.
All right. Wow. You're just getting it all out there. We're talking about just being healthy.
Actually, things healthy, you know, you always think heart healthy. Stuff that's good for your heart's good for your brain.
Okay. And when we talk about, if we can real quickly touch on it, there was a study just released last week talking about fish oil perhaps not being as effective in stroke and heart attacks as they had thought at one time. You don't think that was a good study?
Well, you know, the studies I've seen that have shown negative outcomes have usually been underdosing the omega-3s and or not tracking them long enough. Omega-3s are essential for many things. They are anti-inflammatory. They have been shown to reduce the risk of dementia because they actually scavenge up free radicals, which are damaging to the brain. They are actually building blocks to the membranes of the brain cells, and if you're deficient in those, you actually have higher rates of bipolar disorder and depression. And they also reduce triglycerides and are approved by the FDA to reduce triglycerides. So there's a lot of good things they do. I would be suspect of one study only when there's so many other studies that show positive benefits.
All right, good. So don't quit on the fish oil.
No, I take them every day.
All right, all right. And then the last one is E.
E for exercise. This is a fascinating study done recently on older adults, showed that if they aerobically exercised regularly, that they actually had a 2% increase in brain mass in the part of the brain that contributes to memory, which actually reversed the loss that's associated with aging.
Wow.
So it's impactful. When you exercise, your body produces anti-inflammatory factors from the muscles that reduce inflammation, but the brain also produces neurotrophic factors. These are factors that make the brain make new neurons. So you're keeping your brain healthy when you exercise regularly.
Is it one of these things, looking at your steps and what you're talking about here, is it never too late to start some of these habits?
That's correct. It's never too late. They've actually done studies on people who actually are in the early stages of dementia, and those who start the exercise actually slow the progression because you start turning on these good proteins.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're going to inspire a lot of folks to get out there and do some things. And I'm also thinking about all that. When you keep your brain healthy, it's probably also very good for kids in school.
Absolutely. Kids will score better in school. They'll have better behavior. Okay. Studies on the altruism part, youth who were volunteers in their community actually were leaders in society, had less behavior problems, and did better in school.
All right.
Yeah.
You're motivating a lot of folks out there, Dr. Jennings.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Please come back. We love having you here. Chattanooga psychiatrist Dr. Tim Jennings, One Park Place. And there's how you find him on the web, tmschattanooga.com. Also the phone number 531-4110. And very accessible and a lot of help for a lot of folks out there.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for being here with us. Casey Orr tells us why today is a special day. Next year on 3+U.